Hi, it's Ginger Vegan here, and I'm going to show you how to make sushi today. Easier than it sounds. Everyone thinks that sushi is really difficult to do, but I think as long as you follow a couple of simple rules, you'll get it right first time. So I'm going to show you how to make 3 types of sushi today. An inside-out sushi roll, a small sushi roll, and a large sushi roll. So the things that you'll need are, most importantly, sushi rice, which I've cooked here, and when it's still hot you stir in some sushi vinegar and leave it to cool down. Now I've put it out on a plate so that it will cool down quicker. You're going to need a bamboo rolling mat, a small bowl of water, that's to dip your fingers in, sushi nori, which is probably the most important bit, you can't make sushi without that, and a pair of scissors to cut it in half for the small sushi rolls. You'll also need some cling film. This is to cover the sushi mat in, because if it's covered that will stop so much rice getting on it, but the real reason is for the inside out sushi rolls it has to be covered. You can't do that with an uncovered mat. And then of course you have your fillings. So these are my favourite fillings. We've got smoked tofu here. It's Typhoon brand smoked tofu with almonds and sesame seeds. It's absolutely gorgeous if you haven't tried it already. And then we use also peppers, avocado, cucumber. And the kids really like sushi with mango in too, but I haven't done that just now, maybe later. So there are some other extras that you're going to need. For the inside out sushi rolls, you'll need this black sesame seeds. You can do it with normal sesame seeds too, but it looks really nice if you do it with the black. And of course you need some wasabi, and pickled ginger as well is great for going with your sushi. So the first thing you need to do is look at your nori paper. Now it has 2 sides. This is the shiny side, and then the other side is not so shiny. So the shiny side is the side that you want to go on the outside of your sushi roll. It really doesn't matter, of course, if you're doing an inside-out sushi roll, because you won't see the nori on the outside anyway, but it is important for the normal sushi rolls. So that's where you'll put your rice, on this side. Now I'm going to make the inside-out one first. So I'm just going to cover my mat in cling film, and then I can get on and show you what to do. So I've got my nori sheet on here. We're going to make the inside out sushi rolls first. So you need to dip your hands in the water. You don't need too much on, but they do need to be damp, otherwise the rice will stick to them. And I've got my rice over here, so I'm just going to press the rice all over the nori sheet. We're not leaving any gaps for this one. And if the rice starts sticking to your fingers, then just put a little bit more water on. There we go, just a little bit more in the corner. Right, so when it's completely covered in rice, the next thing you need to do is put your sesame seeds on. So I'm just going to dry my hands, and these are my sesame seeds. You can't really see them very well, but I'm just going to sprinkle them all over the rice, so it's pretty much covered in sesame seeds. The more you put on, the better it looks, really. And this is why the black sesame seeds look the best, because they make such a contrast with the white rice. But you could use normal sesame seeds as well. So that looks pretty good. So now what we need to do is lift up the nori and turn it the other way up on our covered sushi mat. So now we're going to put our toppings on, and because this is a whole sheet, we can use quite a lot of toppings. So I'm going to put some tofu on, some peppers on, some cucumber on, and we'll put some avocado on there too. Sometimes I would cut the avocado so it's not such of a crescent shape. I cut it off, that bit off there, but it doesn't really matter. Especially for these big ones. It matters more if you're making a small one. And I reckon we can fit some more tofu on. Everyone loves tofu, so let's put another thing of tofu on. So now is the tricky bit. Although it's not really that tricky, you just need to remember a couple of things. So start here. As you roll it over, you need to put your fingers on your filling so it doesn't go sliding off the other end. And you need to be quite firm with it, so you might have to keep putting things in. They have a tendency to go out. So roll it right over. Keep your fingers on the filling until it gets the end of the sushi comes all the way round. So when you've got to here, you can see that the rice has just met the nori on the other side. Now we could have put loads more filling in there, but there is a limit, isn't there? So now you've got that in, you need to release this mat because you don't want to start rolling your mat up inside your sushi. Release the mat, give it a good press, release it again, roll a little bit, give it another good press, release the mat again, roll it a bit more. And then once you've got to the end of the mat, turn it over, and then you can tuck that in and you can roll the mat up with the sushi because we know it's all rolled up together and there's no chance of getting the mat stuck inside the sushi anymore. And give that a good roll. Now hopefully that will have worked. So let's have a look. There is our big inside out sushi roll. So what you have to do next is cut it. Right, so I've placed my sushi roll on a chopping board and I have a lovely sharp knife here, and the first thing I'm going to do is just wet the knife with the water. You might need to keep doing this as you've cut one or two because if the knife isn't wet, the same thing will happen as it would with your hands if you hadn't wet them, and the rice will just stick to the knife. So we just, with a sawing motion, cut through there, and hopefully it will look lovely on the inside. Right, the first one is always a duff. It's never going to look good. So either just eat it now or put it in a separate plate where nobody knows. Don't show it to your guests. Very bad idea. So we shall cut another one, and this one will be absolutely beautiful. The sort of one that you can display to your guests and your family and say, wow, look what I did. So there we go. Beautiful slice of sushi. So now we're going to make the small sushi rolls, and the first thing we need to do is cut this sheet in half. The small ones are big enough for one filling. So as you can see, there's some lines going down the nori sheet, and you want to cut with the direction of those lines, because if you cut it the other way it's going to be way too thin. So gauge the middle, and the lines are not always evenly spaced, so you have to be a bit careful about how much to cut. So I think they're just about even. So when I'm doing the small ones, I keep the cut end as the end that I'm going to roll from, and this will be on the outside of the sushi roll. So we'll just do the same as we did before, wet our hands, and then put the rice on the nori sheet. Now the most important thing with these small ones is to leave a gap along this edge here, because if you don't leave a gap, you won't be able to fasten it together, because that nori strip there acts as sellotape. So it is very important to leave that there, and I think that's probably where most people go wrong, is they don't leave enough of the gap along this side, and then it just won't stick together at the end. So now we've got all the rice on, we're going to put our filling in, and I'm going to do pepper for this one. That one's a bit thin, so I choose one that's a bit thicker. There we go. Now don't try and put any more in, because it will be too much and it won't close. So we're going to roll it again. Put your fingers on the filling, roll it over, and then squeeze it in from the outside. Lift up your mat. It's not quite touching there, so we need to roll it a bit more and squeeze as you go. And roll a little bit more, squeeze again, roll a little bit more. You can be quite firm with this. My cling film's got caught. You don't actually need cling film on for this one, so you could do it without. But it does save you getting rice all over the mat, and they are quite hard to clean. So there we go, that's it rolled up. You can just roll it again right inside the mat and give it a good squeeze so it all sticks together. And there, that's the line that has stuck together. So when you're cutting it, you want to have that at the bottom. So that's the next roll. So now we're going to make a large sushi roll, and remember that you need to have your shiny side down, and you're going to put the rice on the not so shiny side. You also need to have the lines of the sushi sheet going in this direction, so you roll it up along the lines. So I'm just going to wet my hands and start to put the rice on again. Now the same as you did with the small sushi roll, you do need to leave a gap here as well, because the same applies. It acts as a sort of sellotape to hold it all together, and if you cover that with rice it won't stick together, and that's where you get exploding sushi. So it's definitely good to avoid exploding sushi at all costs. So there we go, there's a nice gap there. And just spread this out a bit more and fill in any little holes. Looks quite good. I'm just going to fill in these little bits here in the corner. Okay, so now I'm going to put the filling in, and the same with the inside out sushi roll. You can fit quite a lot in these ones. So some tofu, cucumber, peppers. I'm going to put some more peppers as well, and some more cucumber. And I think that will do quite nicely. So now we're going to roll it up. So again, put your hands on the filling so it doesn't go anywhere. Fold it over, right down. I've taken the cling film off for this one so you can see a bit more what I'm doing. So I'm just pressing that in, and that has got the filling is inside. And so when you've got the end of it over the filling, then you know you can let go of the filling. So you just keep rolling it over, keep this little bit of the mat out the way, and be quite firm, because the firmer you are, the safer it will be, the better it will stick together. So, and when you've got it all the way around, you can lift it up and turn it over and roll it all up with the mat and give it a good press. So that should be a nice sushi roll there. Where's the, oh, there's a seam there. So now we're ready to cut that one. So now we're going to cut this. Wet the knife. Still got some rice on from the other sushi. There we go. So we'll cut the first duffer off. And my lovely assistant can eat that in a minute. There's our first sushi. They look quite good. Now, I'm not a professional sushi chef by any stretch of the imagination, but I've had quite a lot of practice making this for the family, so they generally turn out quite well. So that is how to make the large sushi roll. So that's it for today. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see me make. Bye for now.